Hi everyone, welcome to another Scryfall Shenanigans episode. So, something a little different in this episode, in as much as I'm not going to be going down the usual rabbit holes. The focus is going to be slightly different, and I'd always planned on slicing and dicing things in interesting ways, or laying them out in interesting ways. So what I wanted to do in this episode is a timeline of mana rocks in the history of Magic the Gathering, going through year by year from 93 up to today. And I thought it would be a really nice video just to get on the channel, so I could always a good reference video to provide links to when I'm having other discussions about mana rocks in certain sets, and just to have it on the channel so people can watch it. And if you're not familiar with sort of certain key cycles in the history of mana rocks, it would provide a nice timeline. Now, a couple of housekeeping points about this video. First of all, I'm going to exclude from the timeline this group of cards. So these came out, so Domineer United and the Brothers Wars cards. You'll notice all of these, I think in some capacity, generate a mana rock. They generate a Power Stone token. But none of them themselves are artifacts. So I'm going to put them to one side, but in the description I will include a link to this particular Scryfall search. That's the first thing. The second thing, and I had to make this decision when I was putting it together because things started to get out of hand in the original planning of this video in terms of the amount of stuff that was there. I'm only going to be talking about it from the perspective of when certain cards were printed. So you can see I'm using this -is reprint. And as I go through the timeline, I'm only going to be looking at, for given years, the cards that were new to Magic in that year. It is fascinating to look at reprints, and I am quite prepared at some point in the future to do some sort of compare and contrast episode or version of this. So, as an example, here we have 8 cards from 1993. These are the original mana rocks, if you like. Okay, from limited edition alpha, which we'll come back to in a moment. These from the same year. Whoops, my mouse is being a bit difficult. And if I've got an add-on in the background somewhere. Yeah, these are the reprinted ones in the same year. So the cards, some of them, if not all of these. So we've got 32 cards here compared to 8 originals. So you can see we've got the Basalt Monolith, the Mana Vault, the Moxes, and the Soul Ring from limited edition beta. So you see 8 cards there. From unlimited edition, so the other 8. And then from the collector's edition here, and then these are from the international collector's edition. So there's a collector's edition and international collector's edition. The way you can tell the collector's editions is, if you look, they're square in the corners. And is it the case, someone can just correct me here, the backing's different, isn't it, as well, I think, on the collector's editions? It doesn't have the usual Magic the Gathering backing on it, but again, you can correct me on that in the comments section. I forgot to look it up before I started this, but that was always my understanding. In the same way as certain other cards have backings on them to differentiate them easily from other cards for tournament legal purposes, tournament legality purposes. Okay, so just to compare and contrast there, which you're not going to see in the rest of the video. But if you did want me to do a video like that, where on given years I sort of go, okay, move through the different years and go, okay, 93, you get the difference here between the printed and and this is what is reprinted, 94, and so on. One of the reasons I opted to do it with just talking about primarily the stuff that isn't a reprint, so fresh out, if you like, in a given year, is because you'll see when we get to the end, I'll show you the contrast in 2024, the difference between the stuff that's not reprints and the stuff that is. Because you can imagine, well, we'll talk a little bit about why, but I think you've guessed already. What I will do, however, is I will show if for for a new card it had alternate artwork. So I'll show you both pieces of artwork, and we can flip around with that as well to make it a little bit clearer, but just so you know. So housekeeping out the way. Yep, so we have Basalt Monolith, which was this, tap to add 3 colours mana to your mana pool. It doesn't untap as normal during the untap phase, but it can be tapped for 3 mana. Tapping this artifact can be played as an interrupt. Okay, so I've got to find a way of untapping it, because it's not going to untap as normal during the untap phase, but it can be untapped for 3 mana. So you get 3 mana, but to untap it costs 3 mana. So yeah, and like I said, there's other cards where you could twiddle around, or whatever you want to call it, with an artifact in other ways. We've got Mana Vault here, so tap to add 3 colours mana to your mana pool. Mana Vault doesn't untap normally during untap phase. To untap it, you may pay 4 mana. If Mana Vault remains tapped during upkeep, it does 1 damage to you. Tapping this artifact can be played as an interrupt. 1 to cast. Then we have these 0 casting cost Moxies, and you can see the basic mechanics the same. So you get to add a certain colour of mana to your mana pool. Tapping this artifact can be played as an interrupt. So just to clarify there, it doesn't specifically say here, but yeah, tap to add green. So there's no tap symbol here, but that's how it works with these. Yeah. There was this whole business in early artifacts in Magic about, turning artifacts on and off. So that's why it's worded slightly differently. Then we get good old Soul Ring. Add 2 colourless mana to your mana pool. Tapping this artifact can be played as an interrupt. Just going in and looking at some of the prices is probably about as far as the rabbit hole I'm going to go down, because I'm not really going to go into the Scryfall tagger, because we're talking purely about its mana rock properties really, and just comparing and contrasting through the history of Magic. But if you wanted, there's no US price here for some bizarre reason. As I've said before, if you're after the cheapest version of this style of artwork, if I'm correct, it is the revised edition. Obviously, there's newer prints of this, which are a lot cheaper, and they have the sort of classic, what I think of as the Commander artwork, I suppose, for want of a better word. But then there's other versions of it as well in different artworks. And that's, of course, you can probably guess, that's why I was a bit drawn towards doing the reprinted stuff as well. But yeah, as I went through it, logistically, it got a bit confusing. So for the moment, we'll do this, and then you can let me know in the comments section what you want me to do. And anything else that catches your fancy when I'm doing this, if you think, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind you going down a rabbit hole of that particular group of mana rocks and talk a little bit more about them. Okay, so moving on to 94, we get the mana batteries, and also Filwar Stone and Ashnod's Altar. So Ashnod's Altar is interesting. Well, they're all interesting. That's why I wanted to really do this episode. I got so excited last night when I was putting this together. So Ashnod's Altar, which is from Antiquities, I'll try and remember and point out, because in a given year we're going to see different sets here. So yeah, Ashnod's Altar, 3 to cast. 0, sacrifice one of your creatures to add 2 colourless mana to your mana pool. This effect is played as an interrupt. You may not sacrifice a creature that is already on its way to the graveyard. That sets you back $21, but there are other versions of it that are cheaper. You can see they did keep up with the artwork to a certain point, and yeah, I think I have maybe some Chronicles ones back when they were a little bit cheaper. Maybe I've just got one, but I'm pretty sure I've got a copy of this somewhere. Yeah, great in any deck where you want to be able to sacrifice creatures. Yeah, nice way of doing it. If you've got other cards in play that are going to benefit from you sacking creatures, or you just want stuff in your graveyard, creatures in your graveyard, but it's nice you get 2 colourless mana. Then we've got these mana batteries. So these are all 4 drops, and again, 1 for each colour of mana, and same basic configuration on each. So 2 tap, put 1 counter on black mana battery. So that's the same on all of these. You can tap it to add black to your mana pool, and you can remove as many counters as you wish. For each counter removed, add black to your mana pool. This ability is played as an interrupt. So might be a bit easier here. So yeah, you're tapping, adding black in this case, and then if you want to add additional black, then you remove charge counters which you've accumulated, hopefully this way. So yeah, great way of storing mana. Of course, someone could blow up your artifact, which would be super annoying, but yeah. So yeah, well, if you've got no way of spending it, I'll put it that way, so you might want to quickly respond. So yeah, 1 for each colour. Okay, so really same top bit, but then the next bit's just a change in the colour that it generates. Notice I don't think it specifies, yeah, it's just they call them charge counters here, so yeah. Then we got Felwar Stone. This is from the Dark when it was first printed. These were printed from, by the way, these were printed from Legends. Okay, first printed in Legends. Yeah, they have been reprinted in 4th edition if you're curious, but yeah. I think that might be the versions that I've got, possibly. I don't think I bought the Legends versions. Yeah, so Felwar Stone from the Dark. Tap, add 1 mana to your mana pool. This mana may be of any colour that an opponent's land can produce. This ability is played as an interrupt, so yeah, I've seen it crop up in Commander decks. If you want this style of artwork, so we got 5th edition there at $1.11. I think several years ago, I can't remember, I bought some 5th edition or 4th edition ones, like a couple of copies here and there, just for decks if I wanted it. But the modified or the newer artwork, which kicks in at 9th edition. So yeah, where was the jump? So we had 5th edition, which was the last time it was printed with the old artwork. This is Magic the Gathering Online, by the way. And I don't think, unless they've got a few, that's interesting artwork, isn't it? Secret Lair Drop. Yeah, so this style of artwork, which started cropping up in the Commander products. It gets confusing because it's also on the list as well. I wonder why they've never been tempted to put the old style artwork in the list. Anyway. But if you want the dark version, set you back $12.63. Okay, moving on to 95. So, interestingly enough, we have this Harper Prism promo. I think that's so it was reprinted later, but up until vintage where is it? So that's online. Judges gift cards. Yeah. So 253.26 for a mana crypt from the Harper Prison Book promos. It's pretty expensive elsewhere as well. Banned in Legacy, Commander and Oathbreaker, so you can't play it in Commander. At the beginning of your upkeep, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, Mana Crypt deals 3 damage to you. Tap, add double colourless mana. 0 to cast. Yeah, so an interesting one. A couple from Ice Age, first printed in Ice Age. Ice Cauldron, which has this amazing text on it. And Jeweled Amulet. Ice Cauldron 4 to cast. Let's see if we can do this. So X tap, put a charge counter on Ice Cauldron and put a spell card face up on Ice Cauldron. Note the type, oh yeah, this one. The type and amount of mana used to pay this activation cost. Use this ability only if there are no charge counters on Ice Cauldron. You may play that spell card as though it were in your hand. Remove the charge counter from Ice Cauldron to add mana of the type and amount last used to put a charge counter on Ice Cauldron to your mana pool. This mana is usable only to cast the spell on top of Ice Cauldron. Let's just have a quick peek here. So yeah, this is how it's been errated. $2 in Ice Age. Jeweled Amulet. So 0 to cast. 1 tap, put a charge counter on Jeweled Amulet. Note what type of mana was used to pay this activation cost. Use this ability only if there are no charge counters on Jeweled Amulet. Remove the charge counter from Jeweled Amulet to add 1 mana of the type last used to put a charge counter on Jeweled Amulet to your mana pool. Play this ability as an interrupt. I think you get the picture. So again, yeah. Errated. $3.17. So moving on to 96. So yeah, things get interesting here. You have to apologise. I apologise. It goes a bit out of order because I'm sorting by release date, so it's easy to see the. So it's easy to see the sets, but within a set, of course, it's going to sort by alphabetical, isn't it? So we have Soul Grail from Alliances. So that came out in 96. So comes into play. Choose a colour. Tap, add 1 mana of the chosen colour to your mana pool. Play this ability as an interrupt. I think I've show you one of these. Yeah, I've got a Soul Grail. And then we've got these, which are cool. These are the diamonds. So 1 for each of the colours of mana. And then, so the same thing comes into play tapped, and then you just tap it for the relevant colour of mana. So with these, they've been reprinted a few times. Obviously, when they're reprinted in sets, you're going to get the whole thing. When they're reprinted in the Commander product, then you're only obviously going to get whatever is relevant to the decks. So you might get all 5, you might not. And we get Ventifact Bottle, which is also in Mirage. So all of these are from Mirage. We'll go back to... try and remember to go back to Mana Prism. 1x, put X charge counters on Venifact Bottle. Play this ability as a sorcery. At the beginning of your main phase, if Venifact Bottle has any charge counters on it, tap Ventifact Bottle, Ventifact Bottle, and remove all charge counters from it to add to your mana pool an amount of colourless mana equal to the number of charge counters removed. Did that get reprinted? No, it didn't. Okay. You can see the errata text been simplified a little bit. So Mana Prism, 3 to cast, tap, add 1 colourless mana to your mana pool. Play this ability as a mana source. 1 tap, add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. Play this ability as a mana source. So it's got this colourless mana generation, but also got this filter, this mana filter. So you can take 1 mana of any colour. I apologise if I said colourless mana, but that's 1 mana of any colour, tap it and then turn it into a mana of another colour, any colour. So those are 21 cents, and it was reprinted in Classic 6th edition and as Vintage Masters online. Right, 97. So what's this? Visions and Weatherlight. So the rest of Tempest block. We'll see that with this because I'm doing it by year, and as you probably know, you start off, one year has the first set and then the following year during this period in Magic had the remaining 2. Diamond Kaleidoscope. So for the cast, this has prism counters. So 3 tap, put a prism count token into play. Prism token into play. Treat this as a 0/1 artifact creature. Sacrifice a prism token, add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool, play this ability as a mana source. So that's an interesting way of doing things. It generates a token like I was talking about these cards, which I've sort of excluded, which generate these Power Stone tokens, but they have the means of their own demise on there, or their means of their own activation, should I say. So with this, it's the abilities on here of sacrificing a prism token. I don't think, no, they didn't errata it to have it on the prism token itself, which is interesting. That's from Visions 91. I think I bought one of these just because it looked cool. I mean, 3 for a 0/1 artifact creature that can generate mana. Well, anyway. Sisay's Ring, another 4-drop from Visions. Adds 2 colourless mana to your mana pool. Play this ability as an as a mana source. And then Mind Stone. It's 1 colourless mana, but you can 1 tap it, sacrifice Mind Stone, draw a card. So for 1 mana of any colour, tap it, and you get to sack it, draw a card. So been reprinted a few times. 10th edition. They've sort of kept the art. They kept the artwork there. Sisay's Ring. A lot of these aren't super expensive. If you want the original artwork. Oh dear. So Mox Diamond. So from Stronghold, and we've got Urza Saga. Okay. So this is 1998. Did I miss a year here? No, I didn't. So Visions, Weatherlight. And then back here we were Mirage. So Mirage. Now the other thing you'll notice is not every set's going to have mana rocks in it. So Mox Diamond from Stronghold. So it comes into play. You choose and discard a card or sack it. Add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. 0. So this, I think, is not cheap. Yeah. It was reprinted in From the Vault Relics. So that's the online one, by the way. It is a Mox. So Then this one was from Unglued. I've decided to include these. So this is Jack in the Mox, 0 to cast, and then you've got this 6-sided dice business. And then you can see here, based on you're rolling the dice, you get different colours of mana. Thran Turban, I'd completely forgotten about this. It's 1 to cast. During your upkeep, you may add up to 2 colourless mana to your mana pool. This mana cannot be spent to play spells. Okay. There you go. Worn Power Stone. 3 to cast, comes into play tapped. Taps for 2 colourless mana to your mana pool. Play this ability as a mana source. You can see attempts here to, I suppose, tweak and have a different thing than a Soul Ring that generates 2 colourless mana, but isn't quite so powerful. Because when you look at a Soul Ring, 1 to cast, 2 colourless mana. So, oops, jumped ahead there. I don't know how much these are. They're still not that expensive. $179, and they did keep the artwork on the later stuff in the Commander product. But if you like the old style border, there you go. Okay, and again you can see, artifacts that generate seemingly stupid amounts of mana, or more than 1, should I say. They've obviously got various downsides to stop things getting out of control. So we're now getting to Urza's Legacy. So we've got Grim Monolith, 2 to cast. Doesn't untap during your untap phase. Tap, add 3 colourless mana to your mana pool. Player's ability as a mana source. 4 to untap it. So we're seeing a pattern here with these sort of things. Yeah. So again, if you might have another way of untapping this outside of the card. Thran Dynamo, 4 to cast, so add 3 colourless mana to your mana pool. And that's 431. And it did get printed in Commander 2019. And there as well. And they've kept the original artwork, which is cool. Grim Monolith, what's that? 271, okay. So the only way you can get a copy of this outside of here is from the World Championship decks. Yeah. So the Ramos stuff. So these were all 3 drops, and there's 1 for each colour. So again, the same template functionality, and these are in Mercadian Masks. The Thran Dynamo was from Urza's Destiny. So this is the first set, I think, of the next block. So tap to add 1 mana of your mana pool, blue mana, and then you can sack it and add 1 blue mana to your mana pool. So 1 for each of the colours. And then we got Current Toy, 3 to cast, 1 tap, put a charge counter on it. Tap, remove X charge counters from Current Toy, add X plus 1 colourless mana to your mana pool. So these things, you got there, they're around $1. I don't know if there's a difference in the prices. Probably. This one, 63 cents. Okay. Moving through. 7 cards. So yeah, I did a video recently. This is what sort of triggered this off, actually. I was thinking about things like the cameos and thought, it'd be really interesting to see across a timeline, the relationship between mana and how it's generating colour and what you get for what you've paid. So you can thank that video for this. So yeah, these cameos, these were from Invasion. All of these cards are from Invasion. So again, same thing. These are all 2 colour, so this will be an allied colour cycle. And yeah, 3 to cast, tap it, and this one add black or red, and it goes through the allied colour combinations. We've also got Phyrexian Altar, so 3 to cast, sack a creature, add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. Now this, they did change the artwork, although they kept it for the dual decks here. $40 is pretty expensive, and the list version is from, what would it be? Ultimate Masters, Ultimate Masters. So another one that's nice in a deck where you want stuff to end up in the graveyard, or you want stuff to be triggered when it goes in the graveyard and you're sacking it. So now we've got Phyrexian Lens, 3 to cast. You can see these are all 3 drops actually. Tap, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. So that's interesting. So life for mana, 34 cents there. Okay, 2001 we're up to now. I'm trying to make sure I haven't missed a year, which when I was setting this up I accidentally missed a year, but I've corrected it now. Star Compass, so we're now up to Plane Shift and Odyssey. So Star Compass, 2 to drop, comes into play tapped, tap, add to your mana pool 1 mana of any colour a basic land you control could produce. So that's an interesting caveat there. So 2, but does come into play tapped, and you're restricted to just colours of basic land you control could produce. Yeah, not expensive. 8th edition, that would be because there's a foil version of this. I'll show the special guests version as well, if you feel so inclined. Neat artwork. Charmed pendant, for the cast. Put the top card of your library into your graveyard. For each coloured mana symbol on that card's mana cost, add 1 mana of that colour to your mana pool. Play this ability only any time you could play an instant. For example, if the card's mana cost is 3 blue, blue, black, you add blue, blue, black to your mana pool. That's 81 cents, only ever printed in Odyssey. It's a rare. Okay, interesting. Nothing in 2002. Let's just see. No reprints. So, I'm now curious. I did know this was coming up, sort of a bit of a fake surprise there, because obviously I prepared this. What I didn't bother doing is checking to see, well, what artefacts were printed in 2002. So these, we've only got 6 artefacts. So no mana rocks, just so we're clear about that. But there were 6 artefacts, and they were all in Onslaught. Okay. Yeah, so just so you know. Yeah. So nothing at all. Right, 2003, back to normal. 8 cards. So now we're up to Mirrodin, and you can see there we're into modern card frames. Because again, I'm not doing the reprints, you know, we're not going to see what was in 8th edition. So 8th edition was the first time they did the new borders. So all Mirrodin stuff. We've got these talismans. Let's do those first. So you can see, and you notice the sort of washed outness for Mirrodin as well. That was a thing. So yeah, these do... It's always difficult to see when they're washed out. Allied colours. So they can tap to add colourless to your mana pool. But if you want to tap them for the colour combinations, the allied colour combinations, then they deal 1 damage to you. We've also got Gilded Lotus. So this will, for a cost of 5, you can add 3 mana to your mana of 1 colour to your mana pool when you tap it. Those are $2.09, and they've been reprinted a few times with different artwork. These talismans, yeah, they do crop up in the Warhammer Commander stuff. It was in the Arch Enemy things as well. So, again, depending on the decks, you know, when you're not printing inside of like a set, like an expansion set, and it's part of, say, a deck or a group of precons, then it's quite possible you won't get the full cycle. We've got Chrome Mox, 0 to cast. It's got imprint on it. When Chrome Mox comes into play, you may remove a non-artifact, non-land card in your hand from the game. Add 1 mana of any of the imprinted cards' colour to your mana pool. And then we've got Altar of Shadows, 7 to cast. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add black to your mana pool. For each charge counter on Altar of Shadows, 7 tap, destroy target creature, then put a charge counter on Altar of Shadows. Those are 33 cents. It's only ever been printed in Mirrodin. This is 98 from Mirrodin. It's been reprinted, but it's more expensive in the reprints if you exclude the ones that are in the World Championship decks. Gilded Lotus, what do you reckon? Oh, we already looked at that, didn't we? Yeah, sorry. This is the one I wanted to just double check the price, because I didn't have it on the screen very long. I don't think these are very expensive, no. They're uncommon, so yeah. Rare and uncommon, and all from Mirrodin. Okay, now we move on to Darksteel. We've got slightly more here. So we got Darksteel into Fifth Dawn, into Unhinged. Oh, sorry. Champions as well. Champions of Kamigawa. So, Dark Steel Ingot. This is indestructible. Add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. Serum Powder. 3 to cast. Tap, add colours to your mana pool. Anytime you could mulligan and Serum Powder is in your hand, you may remove your hand from the game, then draw that many cards. You can do this in addition to taking mulligans. So that's interesting. 167 has been reprinted. Meanwhile, the Dark Steel Ingot does turn up in Commander product. Pretty handy to have an indestructible mana source. Golem's Eye, another Dark Steel card. 4, adding 2 to mana pool. So, yeah, another variant on a Soul Ring, I suppose, but higher cost. It's been reprinted in 9th edition, turned up in Commander 2014. Gemstone Array. Put a charge counter on Gemstone Array. Remove a charge counter from Gemstone Array. Add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. Boom, 5th Dawn. Guardian Idol. So these look like they're all one-offs, aren't they? Yeah. So now we're moving on to... So that one was a 5th Dawn. So 5th Dawn comes into play tapped. Add colours to your mana pool. 2. Guardian Idol becomes a 2/2 artifact creature until end of turn. Yeah, I think most of these haven't been reprinted that much. Krark Clan Ironworks. Sacrifice an artifact. Add 2 to your mana pool. It's 4 to cast. $27 for that one. It's banned in Modern. Paradise Mantle, 0. It's always worrying when you see that. Equipped creature has tap, add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. So 0 to cast and 1 to equip. But you put it on a creature, so you sort of 2 for 1 yourself, I suppose. It's 5th Dawn, $10 though. And wasn't reprinted till Modern Masters. Pentad Prism has Sunburst, 2 to cast. Remove a charge counter from Pentad Prism. Add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. And the number of charge counters are based on, when it comes into play, for each colour of mana you use to play. Now, of course, you could use other ways. I don't know if there was necessarily a way in the set of adding these charge counters to it. They're still called charge counters. But, I mean, any card that proliferates or adds to any form of counter could be used in this in eternal formats. It's 25 cents. Did turn up in Plane Chase. That may be where I first saw it actually. Honor Worn Shaku, that is, I think. 3 to cast, tap, add 1 to your mana pool, untap, tap and untap legendary permanent you control, untap it. So untap this. Yeah, $76. It's been in the one here, United Commander. So we've got Mana Screw, a couple of different versions of this. This must be the foil. So 1 flip a coin. If you win the flip, add 2 to your mana pool. Play this ability only any time you would play an instant. So yeah, and then some other unhinged cards. Mox Lotus, 15. Add Infinity to your mana pool, 100. Add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. Don't lose a life due to mana burn. Yeah. So, not legal in anything, technically. So, yeah. Dependent on house rules. Right. These ones. So, Ravnica City of Guilds. First time we see the signets. Interesting cards. So 2 to cast, and you get this filter effect. So you can take 1 mana of any colour and turn it into, in this case, red-white. And so you've got 1 of each of 4. So what they did with this block, so the Ravnica block, is they produced, so there was a full 10 card cycle, but they only put in each set in the block as many signets as you needed for the particular guilds. So in this set there were the red-white, blue-black, black-green, green-white guilds. We've also got Spectral Searchlight. 3 to cast, choose a player. That player adds 1 mana of any colour he or she chooses to his or her mana pool. 13 cents. It's in Battle Bond, Commander Legends, Conspiracy. Nice bit of game politics. Yeah. These should still be relatively cheap. They've been reprinted a few times. Again, in the appropriate commander sets, in the guild kits, that sort of thing. So yeah. Rest of some more signets here. So you can see there's slightly more here because we're in 2006 and we've got the remaining 2 sets coming out. So previous year was just the first set, and then 2006 again, because this thing of blocks like straddling years. So yeah, remaining colours to bring up the total 10. Also got in this set, which is Cold Snap, we've got Cold Steel Heart. Comes into play tapped. Choose a colour when it comes into play, and then you tap it for that chosen colour. 2 to cast. Just cropped up a few times in Commander. And again with these, they're pretty reasonably priced. Just around 50 cents. Then we've got some totems here. So these were in Time Spiral. So with these, what they do is they tap, they're 3 to cast. They tap for a specific colour of mana. So you can see there's 5 of them, 1 for each colour. But then you also have the option to turn them into some sort of creature. So this one's an ATOG, this is a giant, this is a, where's it gone? There we go, black horror creature, 5/5. And this is a 2/2 white spirit artifact creature, and this is a 5/3 green tree folk artifact creature. You can see the costing of doing that is all different, and it's only until end of turn. And you'll also notice there's an additional static ability, I think, on all of these. Yeah, this one actually is 0 activation cost because you can, this thing with 3/3 until end of turn. You skip your next turn, play this ability only once each turn, and only if Chronotog Totem is a creature, so you want a choice to do that. These activate, so this one is, as long as it's a creature, whenever it's damage if it's a creature. This has flying and first strike on it, and actually doesn't have an additional static ability beyond having flying and first strike. And this one, when it's put into the graveyard from play, if it was a creature, return the card to its owner's hand. Additionally, we've got Prismatic Lens here in the set, Time Spiral. So 2, you can add colourless, but it's got one of these filter effects on it. So 1 colour mana into another. And that sort of thing you probably notice now. Functionally, he's been reprinted a few times. Paradise Plume, Gauntlet of Power. So Gauntlet of Power comes into play. Choose a colour. Creatures of the chosen colour get +1/+1. Whenever a basic land is tapped for the mana of the chosen colour, its controller adds 1 mana of that colour to his or her mana pool. So interesting way of doing things. 263. It's been reprinted a few times. But mainly in sort of the remastered stuff. It is on the list, and it was an invention. And then Paradise Plume. Yep. There's Time Spiral remastered as well. Has been in Commander 2021. So sometimes these get put into the odd Commander product here and there. It's interesting to see them, I think, when they do that. Okay. Correlation Relic. I seem to remember this is quite pricey. From Future Sight, 2007. So we went from 2006 to 2007. And we got Springleaf Drum. So Coalition Relic, 3 to cast. Future Sight, and then add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. Put a charge counter on it. It's also tap, put a charge counter on it. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, remove all charge counters from Coalition Relic. Add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool for each counter removed this way. Springleaf Drum, 1 to cast, tap. Tap an untapped creature you control, add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. So it's sort of turning a creature, I suppose, into a mana dork. But you have to tap it when you tap this. Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought this was more expensive than it is. It's only 97 cents. My mistake. They reprinted it here. Yeah, I must have got confused with something else. Yeah, unless it was expensive at a time before it was reprinted. Okay, Spring Leaf Drum, 2 cents. Been reprinted, Born of the Gods, Double Masters. Yeah, retro artifact version. Okay, these cards, the obelisks. Yeah, so tricolour artifacts, 3 to cast, and tap for combinations of shards and shards of Alara. Pretty cheap. Yeah, they were. I don't know if the whole set was reprinted in Commander 2013, probably, because that was a 3-colour set, wasn't it? It was a 3-colour shard set, because 2011 was wedges. They didn't reprint the banned one though. They must have put something else in there then. I wonder if for a couple of them they decided to put in the fetch lands, maybe. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, might have used tricolour fetches, mightn't they? Or just done it using, I don't know, what, 2-colour artifacts. Okay. The border posts. So these were from Alara Reborn. Yep, so 1 and then 2 colours, so these are allied. They're coloured artifacts. And yeah, you can choose to pay 1 and return a basic land you control instead of paying this cost if you want to. Whatever you do, it does come into play tapped. When you untap it, it then taps for the 2 colours. Or well, one or the other. So these are not expensive. And again, I think they've probably either not been reprinted in anything or maybe in the odd multiplayer set for funsies. I don't think any of them, let me just check if I end up in any Commander product. Carney Gem, 4 to cast, enters the battlefield, return 2 lands you control to their owner's hand. Whoops. Add 2 mana of 1 colour to your mana pool. So some pretty heavy downsides there. 21 cents, never been reprinted. Unbendertine, 2 white blue, tap, untap another target permanent. Interesting. Why is that considered to be a mana rock? Curious. Oh, utility mana rock. Okay. Interesting. Is that because it has the potential to untap a land? Yeah, not sure there. That's curious. Okay. Yeah, it's coming up as a mana rock. Am I missing something? I don't think so. Yeah, I suppose because you can untap a land, so that's why that's been tagged up as such. Okay. So first one like that we've seen. Right. Oh, some favourites here. World Wake into Rise of the Eldrazi into Scars of Mirrodin. Everflowing Chalice, 0 to cast. It's got multi-kicker of 2. It's the battlefield with a charge counter on it for each time it was kicked. And then you add 1 to your mana pool for each charge counter in a Everflowing Chalice. So yeah, it needs some counters on it. Dreamstone Hedron, 6 to cast. But you tap it, add 3 to your mana pool. 3, tap, sacrifice it, draw 3 cards. Mox Opal, 0 to cast. It's got Metalcraft, so add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. But you can activate the ability if you control 3 or more artifacts. And Mere Reservoir, 3 to cast. Tap, add 2 to your mana pool. Spend the mana only to cast Mere spells or activate Mere abilities. 3, tap, return a target Mere card from the graveyard to your hand. That's a Mere card, not a Meerkat. So that's 58. It's been reprinted a few times for 58 cents. This is cheap and is cropped up in Commander quite a bit. I think it's that, yeah. So I did assume that I seem to remember, sorry, that Dreamstone Hedron had cropped up a few times. Mox Opal, $89. Yeah, quite expensive. Some sort of special reprints there. Mirror Reservoir, never know. Yeah, just in Skulls Mirrored in that one. 2011. So, Sphere of the Suns, Cage Sun, Pristine Talisman, and Manolith. So we're getting to the era of, or we're well into the era of core sets which contain new cards. So it wouldn't be long, in this case M12, until we came across a Mana Rock. So, starting with Sphere of the Suns, 2 to cast, into the battlefield tapped, and with 3 charge counters on it. So you remove a charge counter from Sphere of the Suns, add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. Cage Sun, you choose a colour when it enters the battlefield. Creatures that you control of the chosen colour get +1/+1. Whenever a land's ability adds 1 or more mana to your chosen colour to your mana pool, add 1 additional mana of that colour to your mana pool. So we've seen that sort of effect before. Pristine Talisman, 3 to cast, tap to add colours to your mana pool and you gain 1 life. And then Manolith, 3 to cast, add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. Sphere of the Suns, 21 cents, only been reprinted once. Cage Sun, been reprinted a few times. That's 252. I think at one point before it was reprinted it was pretty expensive, from what I remember. This is just 18 cents. There is a promo version of it. Been reprinted a few times in multiplayer stuff. And then Manolith is in the core set 2019 with different artwork and Hour of Devastation. So it's cropped up a couple of times in regular sets. Also, game night version. So, nice. So, 2012, Altar of the Lost. Right, so here we've got Dark Ascension into Avacyn Restored, and then the first set of the next block, Return to Ravnica, 2012. So, we have Altar of the Lost, enters the battlefield tapped, add 2 mana in any combination of colours to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast spells with flashback from a graveyard. Warden of the Wall, enters the battlefield tapped. Tap, add colourless to your mana pool. And as long as it's not your turn, Warden of the Wall is a 2/3 gargoyle artifact creature with flying. Vessels of the Endless Rest, enters the battlefield, put a target card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library. Add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool, 3 to cast. And then Fractured Power Stone. So I'm assuming a play on Worn Power Stone. 2 to cast, add colourless to your mana pool, and then tap, roll the planar die. Activate this ability only any time you can cast the sorcery. I didn't point out, this was actually printed in Plane Chase. Has subsequently been reprinted in the anthology, obviously, and the list, and March of the Machines Commander, but the point it was printed, it's interesting that they only printed it in Plane Chase. We get the key runes, so these are again allied colour mana rocks, 3 to cast. So you'll see a recurring theme here with like 3 to cast mana rocks and potentially another ability on them. So these ones became creatures with the appropriate activation cost, which was tied to the colour combination that the mana generated. The rock generated. So yeah. Chromatic Lantern. Lands you control tap, add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. You can also tap it to add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. It'll be interesting to see how expensive that is. So, Altar of the Lost. Cheap. All in the world. Cheap. Yeah, never been reprinted. Vessel. Cheap. Reprinted a few times. Fractured Power Stone. I think we looked at that, 57 cents. The key runes. Yeah, not expensive. Chromatic Lantern, $2.88. Okay, I wonder if that's because it's been reprinted later. Yeah, just have a look at another key rune. So you can see with these, yeah, they've got some in the guild kits, but generally not been reprinted. Okay, the other key runes. So we're now into Gate Crash, so we get the remaining key runes. It's the same thing. We also get these clue stones, which are in Dragon's Maze, and there's the full complement. So, you know, full cycle, all the colours. That was a pretty interesting set where they wedged everything into it. Because, of course, in this block, you know, we're dealing with the guilds again. So this had all the guilds. And these ones, you know, the on-colour activation cause you to sack it and then draw a card. But again, they're 2 colour and they're 3 drops, like I said. So, yeah, 3 drops, 3 drop, 2 colour mana rocks with an ability of some description became a thing. Right, 2014 we're up to now. So we're getting into the realms of Born of the Gods, M15, and then Khans of Tarkir. We've got Commander 2014, Commander Sphere, and Unstable Obelisk, which is also in Commander 2014. So Astral Cornucopia, XXX. So into the battlefield with X charge counts on it. Tap, choose 1, add 1 mana of that colour to your mana pool for each charge counter on Astral Cornucopia. Meteorite, 5 to cast. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to target creature or player. Tap, add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. And then we get the banners. So these are tri-coloured, 3 drops. And then also the activation cost is in the same colour combination. So yeah, you sack it and draw a card. So, you know, not dissimilar to, what was it, the clue stones, but for 3 colours. So the key runes. Because, you know, this particular set, Khans of Tarkir, so what's that, white, black, green, that would be a wedge, wouldn't it? So they were, yeah, wedge colours. So 5 wedge colours. Commander Sphere, add to your mana pool 1 mana of any colour of your commander's colour identity. Sacrifice Commander Sphere, draw a card. Unstable Obelisk, 3 to cast. Add 1 to your mana pool. 7, sacrifice Unstable Obelisk, destroy target permanent. So in terms of reprinting and various other things, prices, you know, not super expensive, been reprinted a few times. Meteorite, yeah, pretty cheap. Reprinted in a cool set as well later on. Khans of Tarkir, is this the only time they've turned up? I think it might be. I don't know if they've ever been used in any capacity elsewhere. Quick look on these. I'm not always going to do this on all of these. Nope. So Commander Sphere, yeah. Well, I think you know where that's always ended up. And Unstable Obelisk as well. So yeah, very useful utility cards. But as you can see, first printed in Commander product. Okay, moving on to 2015. So now we're into Dragons of Tarkir. So these are 2 colour, 3 mana rocks. Again, same sort of thing, but these ones, yeah, do the creature thing until end of turn. So I don't know how far we've got to go back to see that, but you probably saw it, yeah, earlier with the key runes. So yeah, riffing on that, but for 2 colours. These are 2 coloured ones as opposed to the 3 colours for the for Khans of Tarkir. So yeah, Dragons of Tarkir here. Yeah, so these will be allied colours. Pyromancer's Goggles, 5 to cast. Add red to your mana pool. When that mana is spent to cast a red instant or sorcery spell, copy that spell, and you may choose new targets for the copy. So interesting to see. This was in Magic Origins, that there's no cycle here. It's just a red one. We got Hedron Archive, 4 to cast, 2 tap, add 2 to your mana pool, 2 colours, that is, and then 2 of any colour, tap, sacrifice it, draw 2 cards. And then Thought Vessel, 2 to cast, taps for 1 colourless mana, but has this interesting, you have no minimum hand size. So yeah, it was printed initially for Commander. So with these, I think probably similar to the previous ones. Oh, that one did end up in the starter Commander then, so it is worth checking these. Iconic Masters, it's a bit random then with these. Yeah, a little bit random. Pyromancer's Goggles, yeah, Commander 2021 and the Secret Lair. Hedron Archive, yeah, it's been in Commander a few times. That was printed, what? Battle for Zendikar. This one, yeah, Commander a few times. And printed for Commander 2015. So, 2016, we've got 6 here. 6 new cards. Oath of the Gatewatch. Shadows over Innistrad. What's that? Eldritch Moon. It's a flippy card. And then Kaladesh and Commander 2016. So let's dive in. So Seer's Lantern, another 3-drop. Adds colours to your mana pool, but it's got 2 tap scry 1 on it. Corrupted Graftstone, 2 to cast. Enters the battlefield tapped. Choose a colour of a card in your graveyard. Add 1 mana of that colour to your mana pool. Magnifying Glass, 3 to cast. Add colourless to your mana pool. 4 tap Investigate. So that's where you put a colourless clue artifact token onto the battlefield with 2 sacrifices artifact, draw a card. Cryptolith Fragment. So enters the battlefield tapped. Add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. Each player loses 1 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, if each player has 10 or less life, transform it into Eldrazi Reflection. It's 1/4 flying Death Touch. Creature with whenever Aura of Emrakul attacks, each opponent loses 3 life. Vehicle with mana generation on it. So 3 to cast. We can crew it, but we can tap it, add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. And it's a 5/5 vehicle. Prismatic Geoscope, 2016 Commander, 5 to cast. It's battlefield tapped. It's got Domain on it. So add X mana in any combination of colours to your mana pool, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. So price-wise, cheap, and yeah, reprinted a few times. Cheap. So there's a few special versions of this. This, yeah, interesting. Kaladesh, yeah, cheap, and yeah, 118. So we're getting a run of cheap cards here, which is good. Okay, 9 cards from 2017. Aether Revolt, Amonkhet, and Ixalan, and then following it up are some unstable cards. So 3 to cast, non-artifact spells you cast have Improvise. The artifacts can help cast these spells. Each artifact you tap after you're done. Activating mana abilities pays for 1. Okay, so yeah. So it's in there because of that. Pyramid of the Pantheon, 1 to cast. 2 tap, add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. Put a brick counter on Pyramid of the Pantheon. Add 3 mana of 1 colour to your mana pool. Activate this ability only if there are 3 or more brick counters on Pyramid of the Pantheon. 4-drop Visage of Bolas. So into the battlefield, you may search your library for and/or graveyard for a card named Nicol Bolas the Deceiver. So it's a Nicol Bolas the Deceiver tutor. Reveal it and put it into your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. Also, rather handy, can tap to generate blue, black, or red mana. Hierophant's Chalice, 3 to cast. And it's about battlefield, target opponent loses 1 life. Tap, add colours to your mana pool. Pillar of Origins. And to battlefield, choose a creature type. Add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type. And then every thingamajig, so there's the various versions of this. And you can see, rather interestingly, it all has different abilities. I'm not going to read out every single one, but you can see here how different ways in which they generate mana. And then we've got Mad Science Fire, Fair Project, Fair project, which uses a 6-sided dice again. Yeah, that's pretty cheap. It's been reprinted a few times. That is Visages. Yeah, a lot of these haven't been reprinted, have they? Yeah, we could probably guess that these are going to be fairly reasonable. These will only have been reprinted once. And there's multiple different versions of this in various guises. Yeah. 11 cards. So, oh, we do have a cycle again. It's always nice when we have cycles because there's less to say. Rivals of Ixalan into Dominaria, into, what's this? Battle Bond, of course. M19, Commander, and then Guilds of Ravnica. Let's get the Guilds of Ravnica stuff out of the way. So yeah, these lockets, 3-drop, mana rock that generates one of 2 colours. These are actually enemy colours, and this weird hybrid mana, so they're all the same amount of hybrid mana, but just, you know, in the appropriate colours, so red, white, blue, black, black, green, blue, red, and then green, white. Tap them, sacrifice them, and you get to draw 2 cards. Yep, so a cycle of those. We've got Ozka Relic, I think that is, with Ascend. So if you control 10 or more permanents, you get the City's Blessing. For the rest of the game, add colourless mana to your mana pool. So you can see at this point we're seeing this symbol being used to indicate colourless mana. Tap it, sacrifice it, gain 3 life and draw a card. Activate this ability only if you have the City's Blessing. Mox Amber, 0 to cast, add 1 mana of any colour among legendary creatures and planeswalkers you control. Power Stone Shard, 3 to cast, add colourless for each artifact you control named Power Stone Shard. Victory Chimes, untap Victory Chimes during each other player's untap step. A player of your choice adds colourless. Dragon's Horde, 3 to cast. When a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, put a gold counter on Dragon Horde. Remove a gold counter from Dragon Horde. Draw a card. Also can tap for 1 mana of any colour. Yeah, again another 3-drop. Coveted Jewel, 6-drop. When it enters the battlefield, you draw 3 cards. Add 3 mana of any one colour. Whenever one or more creatures an opponent attacks, you aren't blocked. That player draws 3 cards and gains control of Coveted Jewel. Untap it. How much is that? Been pretty cheap. Been in Commander generally. Dragon Horde. Core sets in Commander. Victory Chimes, just, well, Battle Bond, the 1 Commander product. Power Stone Shard. Mox Amber, $42. Yeah, I figured this would be expensive. It's been reprinted in the retro artifacts for the Brothers War. And also a Relic. Cheap. Forgotten Realms Commander card. And then these, I think, were they all pre-printed in Commander 20? No, it looks like sort of randomly here and there, yeah. And I suppose with some of these, not the 2019 product, but was it this one that was Zendikar Rising? That would have only been a couple of decks anyway, so... Yeah. Okay, more lockets. So this is Ravnica Allegiance, and these would be the allied ones. It's the same principle, so we don't really need to go over that again. But suffice to say, yeah, probably a bit of randomness there, dependent on, you know, if they were printed in Commander, what particular colour combinations there were in that Commander. So it looks, the Commander 2019, what they did is it printed some of the whole cycle. So, what are the prices on those yet? No surprise, cheap. Tome of the Guild pack, 5 to cast. Whenever you cast a multicoloured spell, draw a card. Add 1 mana of any colour. Firemind Vessel, 4 to cast. When it enters the battlefield tapped. Add 2 mana of different colours. Mana Geode. Into the battlefield, scry 1, add 1 mana. Fountain of Ichor, add 1 mana of any colour. 3 becomes a 3/3 dinosaur artifact creature. Mox Tantalite has to spend 3 on it. And once it's been unsuspended, then you can tap, add 1 mana of any colour. We've got this cycle of creativity from Modern Horizons. So these are from Modern Horizons. So these tap to add colourless, but they did that damage thing. So they were 2-drops, but when you wanted to generate the colour combinations, and these are enemy colours, aren't they? Yeah. So they did that damage thing, which we've seen before. Wow, there's quite a number of cards here. Empowered Auto Generator. Enters battlefield tapped, put a charge counter on it, add X mana to any one colour, where X is the number of charge counters on it. Midnight Clock, so that was from Commander 2019. This is Throne of Eldraine stuff. And you can see we're starting to see alternate artwork now as well. So new stuff that has alternate artwork. So this is the only context we'll see alternate artwork in this go through, is where where it was sort of reprinted alongside the first printing of the card. So add blue, this one, 2 and a blue, put a hour counter on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, put an hour counter on Midnight Clock. When the 12th hour counter is put on Midnight Clock, shuffle your library and graveyard into your hand, then draw 7 cards. Exile it. X list to cast where X is the greatest power of among creatures you control. Tap, add double green. You gain 2 life. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on it and draw a card. Heraldic Banner, 3 to cast. Choose a colour when it enters the battlefield. Creatures you control of the chosen colour get +1/+0, and tap to add 1 mana of a chosen colour. Tap, add 1 mana of any colour. 5, tap, target creature, 3 to cast. Again, you can see these 3-drop mana rocks. This was interesting. So 2 to cast, Arcane Signet was in Throne of Eldraine, and at the time it came out, I seem to remember it being pretty pricey for a common, and then they've reprinted it several times since then. But yeah, at the time it came out, I seem to have been rather expensive. And then we've got the alternate art for these ones. So with this, you can sort of see, there's a number of different promos and alternate art as well. That's obviously going to have differences in the price. This one's pretty expensive, regardless. Heraldic Banner, pretty reasonable. Spinning Wheel, reasonable. I already did that one, didn't I? Power Generator was from Commander. These, okay. I suppose they are 2-drop mana rocks, but the price is all over the place. And they've been... Is there a bit of randomness with the reprinting on that? Yeah. So the expensive one, sometimes these are expensive because of the colour combination, or they haven't been reprinted many times. Did I misclick there? Yeah, so this Modern Horizons. So white, black. Okay. Mox Tantalite, $7. Fountain of Ichor, 6 cents. These lockets, not expensive. As we saw. Tome of the Guild pack, that's a multicoloured one. Firemind Vessel, that's from War of the Spark. Not expensive. Mana Geode, not expensive. Not too expensive. Okay, wow. As you can see here, we're starting to see a few more alternate cards in this. So in the interests of just making this easier for me to read them out, now we've seen these, just so you're familiar, I'm going to just sort of down filter this to just these, just for in terms of making it easier. So alter the pantheon, devotion to each colour, and each combination of colours is increased by 1. Tap, add 1 mana of any colour. If you control a god, a demigod, or a legendary charmer, you gain 1 life. Nyx Lotus. It's a battlefield tap. Choose a colour. Add an amount of mana to that colour equal to your devotion to that colour. Lava Brink Floodgates. So these are all Theros Beyond Death, aren't they? These 4, yeah. Beginning of each player's upkeep, that player may put a doom counter on it, on Lava Brink Floodgates, or remove a doom counter from it. Then if there's 3 or more doom counters on it, sacrifice Lava Brink Floodgates. When you do, it deals, 6 damage to each creature. Bonder's Ornament, 3 to cast, add 1 mana of any colour. Each player who controls a permanent name Bonder's Ornament draws a card. Manascape Refractor, 3 to cast, enters battlefield tapped. Has, all activated abilities of all lands on the battlefield. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any colour to pay the activation costs of it. Then we have these, the crystals. So these are a tricolour land with cycling on them. These are uncommon. And we've got Chromatic Orrery, M21, 7 to cast. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any colour. Tap, add 5, is that colourless? Yeah. 5 tap, draw a card from each colour among permanents you control. Skyclave Relic, 3 to cast, kick of 3, indestructible. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, create 2 tap tokens that are copies of Skyclave Relic. Tap, add 1 mana of any colour. So, okay, so that's fairly reasonable. Yeah, you can see now as well, the ones where we've got promos and alternative printings. That's 35. These crystals, I don't imagine they were very expensive. No. Okay, and it looks like they've never really cropped up in anything else, have they? No. Some things just don't, because there's other more powerful things you can put in Commander product to do the same thing. That's Commander 2020, by the way. There. Actually, so is that. Okay, yeah, I always mess up with these. Yeah, so looking closer, yeah, different logos there. Was that banned in something? Oh, banned in Pauper. Funny. Yeah, okay. 17 cents. Next notice, yeah. And then alter the pantheon, yeah. Okay, so you can see, as we're going through now, there's much more stuff. We'll get to the end. You'll see how much more stuff if I remove the guard here. So, yeah, multiple different artworks here for various cards, so just so you can get a various look at the versions. So what's on the screen, you've got some Crimson Vow stuff, some Midnight Haunt Commander, Innistrad Midnight Haunt, some Forgotten Realms Commander from that year. Yeah, so you can see what's sort of contributing to this increase. Adventures in the Forgotten Realms stuff, and then Modern Horizons 2 stuff, and of course on top of that all the, like I said, all the different variations. Strixhaven School of Mages, yeah, and then Commander 2021. Oh, we're still going, aren't we? Commander 2021, Kaldheim tokens, interestingly enough, are in here, and yeah, all Kaldheim. So again, if I just, for ease of going through this, so we have a flip card here. Colvoro, God of Kinship. As long as you control 3 or more legendary creatures, gets +4, +2, and it's legendary, 1 and a green. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. So yeah, it's a mana rock because of the flip side. There we go. And green, spend mana only to cast a legendary creature spell of the chosen type or a legendary creature spell. Cast a creature spell or a legendary creature spell. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Replicating ring, 1 mana of any colour. Wow. So it's playing around with night counters. If there's 8 or more night counters, remove all of them and create 8 colourless snow artifact tokens name. There we go, replicated ring. Icy Manolith. Tokens, no token artifact. Cursed Mirror. 2 and a red. This is from Commander 2021. Tap for red. As it enters the battlefield, you may have it become a copy of any creature on the battlefield until end of turn, except it has haste. Elementalist Palette. 3 to cast. Whenever you cast a spell with X in its mana cost, put 2 charge counters on the Elementalist Palette. Tap, add 1 mana of any colour. Tap, add colourless for each charge counter on Elementalist Palette. Spend this mana only on costs that contain X. Letter of Acceptance, add 1 mana of any colour. 2 tap, sacrifice Letter of Acceptance, draw a card. Surprise, surprise, it's a 3-drop. Spell Satchel is a 2-drop with Magecraft, so whenever you cast this or copy an instant or sorcery spell, put a book counter on Spell Satchel. Tap, remove a book counter from Spell Satchel. Add colourless, 3 tap, remove 3 book counters from Spell Satchel. Draw a card. Strixhaven Stadium. So this taps for colourless and it will put a pointer counter on it. Okay. When a creature deals combat damage to you, remove a pointer counter. When a creature you control deals combat damage to an opponent, put a pointer counter on Strixhaven Stadium. Then if it has 10 or more pointer counters on it, remove them all and that player loses the game. Okay. Liquid Metal Talk, 2 to cast. It's Modern Horizons card. Add colourless. Target non-land permanent becomes an artifact in addition to its other type until end of turn. Soul Talisman has suspend 3 on it. Rather than cast this card from your hand, pay 1 and exile it with 3 time counters on it. Yep. Tap, add 2. So yeah, play on Soul Ring. Orb of Dragonkind. 2 mana in any combination of colours. There's a filter from 1 mana of any colour. Only cast dragon spells or activate abilities of dragons. Red tap, sacrifice Orb of Dragonkind. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may reveal a dragon card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of the library in any order. Dungeon map. Tap, add. So colourless. Venture into the dungeon. Activate only as a sorcery. Component pouch. Oh, it's got this weird D20 thing on it. Remove a component counter from component pouch. Add 2 mana of different colours. So yeah, it plays around with component counters. Ebony Fly. Comes into play tapped. Add colourless. Roll a D6. So again, we've got, we're in Forgotten Realms. So we've got some D6 or dice shenanigans going on. The Solstice. If it's neither day or night, it becomes day as the Solstice enters the battlefield. Tap, add 1 mana of any colour. 3 tap, if it's night, it becomes day. Otherwise, if it's night, activate only a sorcery. Whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, you gain 1 life and you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Crowded Crypt, 2 and a black. Add black. Whenever a creature you control dies, put a corpse counter on Crowded Crypt. 4/1/2 black, tap, sacrifice Crowded Crypt. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with decayed for each corpse counter on. Okay, Crowded Crypt. And then Honoured Heirloom, 3 to cast, tap, add 1 mana of any colour. 2 tap, exile target creature from a graveyard. I think at this point, because we're getting sufficiently up to date, I don't think I'm going to bother going into the costs or anything like that. I'll include a link to all of these searches anyway, so you can sort of see what's going on. Yeah, there's a few of these that have obviously have had a chance to be reprinted in Commander products. And there are a few here, mainly it's going to be the rares, isn't it, which are these aren't too bad. No, they're not actually. There's a few here. All of that. Is it just... That one's what, $4? And then the Soul Talisman. What was the one I just clicked on, which seemed on the expensive side? Maybe I imagined it. Okay. Either I missed it on the way back through, or... Yeah. That's been reprinted a few times. Okay, wow. 37 cards. Okay. So you can see again, you know, what's contributing here is also the number of different versions of the cards that were released at the same time. So let's just reduce this down to cards. We're down to 27. Okay. So I don't know. I've sort of made a rod for my back, but I don't know if I want to read all of these out individually. My voice is going a little bit. I didn't really plan this too well, I don't think. I didn't think it would take too long to do this, but I forgot when it got to the end. We've got stuff here. So let's just go through and sort of... I'll just read out the names. So Mono Snare Prototype, Network Terminal, Glittering Stockpile. So you can see, yeah, these all have different mana rockness. Lapis Orb of Dragonkind. So we do have a cycle here, which I can talk about. Canella Orb of Dragonkind, Jade Orb of Dragonkind. But you can again see they do, in addition to generating colours, they do slightly different things here. Decanter of Endless Water. Lantern of Revealing. This is another one where you have no minimum hand size. The decanter. Noble's Purse. So that's doing treasure tokens actually. So it is an artifact, but it doesn't directly generate mana, only through the treasure tokens. That does do mana there. Patriot's Seal, Stone Speaker Crystal, so 2 colourless. Vexing Puzzle Box, 1 mana of any colour, but again some dice shenanigans. So we got Battle for Baldur's Gate here. In fact, we've got quite a number. Okay, so this went what from Kamigawa, Neon Destiny, into Streets of New Capenna, into Battle for Baldur's Gate. Yowza. Commander Legends, yeah. Seravox Tome. Commander Legends again. Okay, add colourless if you have the initiative, have 2 colourless. Colourless 1 and 1 mana of any colour. Spend this mana only to cast multicoloured spells. That enters the battlefield tapped. This does mana of any colour. Tap and untap legendary creature you control. Add 1 mana of any colour. 3-drop Timeless Lotus. So these are from Domineering United. We've got a Power Stone token there. First time that was printed for Domineering United. And then we have these, which are the Warhammer Commander stuff. So add 3 mana of any combination of colours for the Golden Throne. Spectre of Eternal Glory, 1 mana of any colour, or add 3 mana of any 1 colour. Activate only if you control 3 or more lands. And then we've got some Unfinity stuff, so that does 1 mana of any colour. Some ticket counter stuff. And then we have, yeah, the Brothers War stuff. So that does 3 colourless if you sack a creature. Black, tap, sack a creature, 3 colours. 3 to cast. 5 to cast. Modal spell. So when it enters the battlefield, choose 1. But its mana ability, tap 2 colourless, mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. Okay, yeah, this one does Power Stone tokens, so indirectly. But it is an artifact, so that's why it's in here, because I was putting artifacts in. Oh yeah, another Power Stone token. So several of these are just going to be through the Power Stone tokens. Yeah, there you go. Oh, that one adds blue. Infernal Idol. That's black. and planar atlas. What's that? Oh, colours. And an additional utility here. How much are these? Not too expensive. Let's look at the rares maybe. In terms of expensive stuff. Rather than look at all the commons. Yeah, $18. Okay. Just giving us a rough idea of sort of price here for these. Wow, 16. 51 cents. Okay. That's a mythic. 381. Okay. Yep. So we're getting more up to date now. 59. Wow. Crazy. So let's just again, I'll quickly scroll through. You can see like, multiple different versions of the same card, but again, all printed on, at the same time. So technically not a reprint, but just sheer weight of numbers now in terms of that, plus even if we do this, we've got 28 now, so about half. But you can see we've got All Will Be One Commander stuff, we've got All Will Be One itself, we've got this, which is Unknown Event. What else here? March of the Machines stuff, Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle Earth, a load of stuff for that. Commander Masters, Wilds of the Eldraine Commander, Doctor Who, more Doctor Who, some what was it, Lost Caverns of Ixalan stuff, double-sided. But what do you sort of notice here? Well, rhetorical question. It seems that we're seeing less and less cycles. That's what it looks like to me here. So we've got odd stuff here. So this is, red mana, 1 mana of any colour, modal, which includes paying life and mana of any colour, oil counters and colour, mana and poison counters and so on. So 2 colour there. Yeah. So now don't think I'm going to, 3 colour stuff, white, colourless, blue, and so on through these. Moving on, 44 cards from 2024, so we're getting up to date now, which is good. So the last one, 44 if we include all the, variants that were printed at the same time. So, here we've got, I think, from 2 or 3 of each, maybe. Something like that. Yeah, depends on the card, of course. But if we, now this does have cycles, so if we go to cards, so we've got Cryptex, which is collect evidence of 3, add 1 mana of any colour, put an unlock counter on Cryptex. Then we've got these bobbleheads. So you can see they all do 1 mana of any colour. So there's nothing funny going on with the different colours here, but the variant resides in this other ability on here. So they all do 1 mana of any colour. They're all 3 drops, interestingly enough, or as is typical. But the variant in the cycle, if indeed you could call this, I suppose it is a cycle of sorts. In fact, what did they call this? This will be the one time I go into the Scryfall tagger. Oh, no, it doesn't actually, so it doesn't imply that they were a cycle, just Synergy Bobblehead. Yeah, because several of these you can see, like they all reference bobbleheads as well. So, yeah. So that would be Fallout. This was Murders at Karlov Manor. And we've got these from the Big Score. So, mana of any colour, exile target, artifact or land, has the activated abilities of all the exiled cards, so that's how it's producing mana. Blue mana, 1 mana of any colour. These are Outlaws of Thunder Junction Commander. Bandits Hall, Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Modern Horizons 3 Commander. Modern Horizons 3 Commander. Yeah, Modern Horizons 3. So these play around with energy tokens as well. So that does colourless mana. That does colourless mana. Mana of any colour, blue mana. Yeah, that's from Assassin's Creed, and that's from Bloomburrow. So I think you get the picture. Yeah, 1 mana of any colour, white. Yeah, we're all over the map now. 18 cards, and yeah, I mean, if we look at some of these, oh my word. Yeah, so we've got, you know, obviously the alternate artwork here. It's pretty expensive for some of these. Yeah. Solar Transformations. Hourglass of the Lost. So it looks like the most expensive stuff is the alt artwork for the Fallout stuff. Now, here's the thing. So I said when I get to the end, I just show you. So this is, if I just do this, just a fair comparison. So this is all the new cards. So no reprints, but it is showing all the alt artwork. So we've got 44. This is all the reprinted stuff in 2024. All the prints of all the reprinted stuff. So we've got Ravnica Remastered stuff, so the signets, all of the signets, Chromatic Lantern, Ravnica Remastered, some different versions here as well. Soul Ring with a turnover one, Arcane Signet from the list, so that's a secret lair drop. This will be Curse Mirror from the list. This is from the secret lair drop, Coveted Jewel. If you can't remember what that was like originally, it's that one. Another Arcane Signet from Murders at Karloff Manor. Some more signets from Commander. Yeah, more Commander stuff. Mind Stone, Commander, Karloff Manor Commander, and so on. So if we had gone through the whole of this after about, I don't know, some point into, I don't know, what, 2010s maybe, whenever we started to see a lot more sets, a lot of aggregate sets, and particularly Commander product as well. Yeah, you can see how this just bulks up everything. Yeah, there's Murders at Karloff Manor. So yeah, when you're including all the reprints, it gets quite out of control. Now, of course, some of these reprints also, the artwork's not changed. So with some, it's reprinted and the artwork's changed, and with others, it's reprinted and the artwork isn't changed. And more Fallout stuff as well. Here, look, all these talismans and mind stones and ever-flowing chalices, and of course we've got multiple pages now, so 171 cards. Yeah, there's all the different reprints in Fallout. Some more secret lair stuff, reprints of the signets, or a signet there. Outlaws of Thunder Junction Commander. What order did I put this in? I thought I put it in date order. Yeah, release date. So yeah, it's getting very murky now. Modern Horizons 3 Commander. Yeah, the talismans are in that. Warm Power Stone. There's some more Soul Ring stuff. More Soul Ring, Thought Vessel. Secret Lair Drop. Yeah. And, oh, that's a nice Soul Ring. What's that come from? Bloomburrow. How much is that? 143. I wouldn't mind that. Okay. Yeah. So there, you know, it's great. It's new artwork. Yeah. Oh, there's So yeah, and these. Okay, so these are the ones in the future shifted. I completely forgot about this. So this is all the mystery booster stuff. Yeah. So there's a soul ring in that. So same artwork, but just a different card thing. What is that doing? Oh, and then of course there's all. You'll see periodically when they update the list, those get included as well in the searches. That's why we got stuff like this. So yeah. So they come out, they get printed on certain dates as well. Yeah. Dustmourn House of Horror stuff, the Commander. So these are interesting. So these are different. So Arcane Signet, different artwork for that. Soul Ring. Okay, so Soul Ring's getting interesting now. Yeah. Orzhov Signet. Mind Stone. Yeah, looks like they got some interesting artwork for that. Okay. Thought Vessel keeps cropping up, but the artwork's not really changed. Some of these talismans I think have been switched out. So, what's predicted for 2025? Well, as you probably guessed, nothing. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that. I did put it out there, but I don't know if I'm too keen to do. Well, anyway, we'll see. But probably I'd have to do select years. So if anybody's interested in me of doing reprints versus not reprints for a certain year, yeah, I could probably manage that. So thanks once again for watching. Bye for now, and I will catch you in a future episode.